Hey, it's Lucky. I was organizing my hundreds of old projects when I stumbled across a couple of old gems. Last year for Halloween I made this horror version of Harvest Moon and it's absolutely wild. Take a listen. But that's not why I gathered you here today. We're here for a platformer called Lumen Flux. Well, one day I woke up and asked myself the question, what if we take the Flash ability from League of Legends and combine it with a hard platformer, like Super Meat Boy? Well, turns out you get a pretty addictive platformer. And in this video I'd like to take you through the process of making it. Oh, and by the way, the whole project is playable in browser on itch.io. So you can just click the first link in the description and play the game. It has controller support and mouse and keyboard. I recommend mouse and keyboard though. But do give it a try and leave me some feedback in the comment on itch or here on the YouTube video. On paper the game is that simple. The player has two abilities, a jump, or in this case a dash. This way the player can also dodge sidewards or even downwards to avoid obstacles. And the second ability, the flash. This ability finds the furthest empty point within a set range and teleports the player there. Seems simple enough. One would say that once I've implemented these features the game would just work. But that's not so. Platformers are known to have a bunch of hacks up their sleeve to make them feel better. The most famous of which is coyote time. Demonstrated here in the game Celeste. This is when the player walks off a platform and jumps when it's just in the air. Viewed in slow motion, the effect almost looks like cheating. But without it, a platformer will feel unfair and sluggish. And while there is no coyote time in Lumen Flux, as the player can dash in the air no matter what, I found that I too had to implement a bunch of grace features and helping features to make the game feel more fair. Most of these features come down to one single thing. The player doesn't like to fall. For example, if we don't dampen the Y velocity after a flash, we'll feel like the player is being pushed down by a force. Even though it's just our velocity that we carried over from the fall right before we flashed. Also, when the player dashes to the side, we don't actually want to go to the side. We want to add a little bit of upward force to give the player a little airtime and actually cover the distance, almost like skipping rocks on water. Implementing these grace features turns the 50-line player controller into a 250-line state machine. This way I was able to tweak the player velocity at the beginning of every effect, at the end of every effect and during, and even in combination of the flash and the dash. Now, making the flash effect feel fair also gave me a little bit of a headache, because it may appear like a simple raycast, shooting out of the player, finding the first point it hits, teleport him there. But that's not actually how a flash effect works. It finds the furthest empty point, which means the initial ray can collide with a wall, but there might be a little bit of air behind that, and there might even be 4 or 5 pockets of air within the range of the flash. So while my initial approach was to daisy chain a bunch of shape casts, I could never make it feel quite right. So I ended up with this giant detection zone. It's basically a beam and it picks the last one that's available and teleports the player there. Now that the player controller was feeling smooth as butter, it was time to add fun level design. The player can only use its abilities once after touching the ground, one flash and one dash. But I quickly found that I wanted to chain the effects to create more smooth gameplay. So I created these little reload crystals. When picked up mid-air, the player reloads his flash and his dash ability, allowing for this crazy ninja-like movement. And after having implemented this, I decided to build 8 levels, demonstrating these gameplay features in the most fun way I could think of. Alright, let's run through the whole game. I'll include the tutorial because there's some learn by doing bits that I want to showcase. In the beginning the player doesn't have the flash, it's only the dash, and this part is here to showcase that it's not a jump. Like a normal platformer where you press jump and you go up, here it's where you aim you go. And this part demonstrates that by forcing you to go up. It's mostly for the controller because the controller aims where you move. With the mouse it's more obvious. But yeah, showcasing the dash. This part is to showcase that you can dash in the air. Naturally people will feel like they can only dash on platforms. But this part is only makeable if you first walk off and then dash in the air. This third part is here to demonstrate you only have one dash. So you cannot just spam it in the air. Once you walk off, one dash. Now here we introduce the flash. There's a hitbox right here that gives the player the flash. And this part is only progressible by flashing. And then you drop down, revealing the next bit of text. I thought it was kind of clever. And this is combining, this is to showcase that you can combine the dash and the flash, which the whole game is based around. So flash dash, or dash flash, and you can make it up here. Then this part is to demonstrate the order in which you use the abilities, and this is very important. For this first part you have to flash first and then dash to this platform. And for this second part you have to dash first and flash through this wall. And this comes back a lot in the game, and I thought it would be nice to demonstrate early on. Let's move on to the first stage. The game contains 3 types of stages. A vertical scroller, as you can see the camera moves with the player. A horizontal scroller, where it's the same, only it moves horizontally. And a bit by bit stage, as I call it. That was the tutorial, where the camera moves to a specific point, and then you play out that point of the stage, and then the camera moves again. So, horizontal scroller, this one is, for me, quite easy. Everybody I gave the game to playtest, they were already struggling in this stage, which is a common problem in game development. I've played this game a ton while making it, so for me, all of this is very easy. But for a new player, this might actually be quite hard. And I say that as I completely failed this stage. Alright, big jump, yes. The second stage is another bit by bit stage. As you can see, the camera moves to a set location as you progress. And here these saw blades are introduced. When touching the saw blades, you respawn. And by dashing and flashing through this wall, you can dodge them. Here we're getting a little finicky with the saw blades. Requires a couple of precise flashes to make it. And here we're combining the precise flashing with a timing element. So you have to fall, dash, flash at the exact right time to land here. And we're on to the third stage. This is again a vertical scroller, and this is in the opposite direction. Just showcasing some abilities while falling. This is actually the part where all the playtesters gave up. I only had one playtester who pushed through this. But yeah, if you're unfamiliar with the physics, this part, especially this part right here, can be extremely finicky. The fourth stage is where I introduced that reload crystal. Here you can't make it by just using your normal flash and dash, inciting the player to grab this little crystal and reload their abilities, making it true. And then the next part of the stage is just playing with this effect. Flashing through the wall, dropping down, flashing over here. And here the same but in reverse. And then here the last 2 parts combined. Oh. And this one is just a very big jump. Alright, next stage. This stage combines the reload crystal and the saw blades. I'm really trying to play here on timing. Some quick flashes needed to dodge those saw blades. And here again, quick flash in and out to re-grab that dash. Hopefully giving the player a feel for the momentum that I want to set in the game. And here a little zigzag. Next up, my favorite stage by far. This entire stage is just one giant combo of grabbing reload crystals and dodging saw blades. And it's super satisfying once you get it down. I've played it a bunch, but if you play the game you'll know first time it's a little hard. Then here I wanted to demonstrate another feature, which is carrying your momentum. It's a little bit more advanced, but as you can see I lose all my momentum when I hit the wall, obviously. But when I flash before I actually do that, you see I carried my momentum through the flash, which allows me to double that flash, keeping the momentum I started all the way here, all the way through to this platform. Here the same. You'll need that momentum. If you go like this, you're not gonna make it. You first need the momentum before the flash to make it all the way over there. And here's a bit of a cheeky one. You first have to walk off, flash through the wall, and then jump up to this platform to regain your abilities. It's kind of the same principle here. And then this one is super finicky, because here you have to actually lose your momentum after a flash. Because when you dash over here, you still have momentum. Flashing through the wall, you want no momentum to not hit these saw blades. Then a very tight jump up. Oh. Tight jump up here, and this is just a drop and a quick flash to get to safety. Here I'm trying to apply that same principle as wombo combo to the carrying momentum part by combining these diamonds. And this final stage here is to demonstrate combining momentum. Here you have to build up a bunch of momentum to make it to the end. Combining momentum of multiple dashes will give you more speed. And to make it to that crystal, you'll need some proper speed. And that's the whole game. Alright, thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more Godot or game dev content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.